One missing storyline in Law & Order, SVU Season 26 will make Amanda Rollins' return in Season 27 more awkward. Law & Order, SVU Season 26 gave Olivia Benson, Mariska Hargitay, a full team for the first time in several years, but that team did not include Rollins, Kelly Giddish. Instead, she worked for the intelligence unit, which kept her off-screen for most of the season. When she did appear, it was often to support Dominic Carisi, Jr., Peter Scanavino, who was dealing with trauma after being held hostage during a robbery. These guest appearances did not do Rollins any justice, so it was a relief when it was announced Rollins would be rejoining Law & Order, SVU Season 27 full-time. The Season 26 finale did not provide any hints as to how Rollins would return. Instead, it focused on a disturbing case while also writing out Detective Joe Velasco, Octavio Pisano, who left the unit after getting a promotion. Velasco is not the only character who is supposed to be written out, but he is the only one who has gotten an exit story so far. Law & Order, SVU Season 26 finale failed to write Kate Silver out. The character had almost no story in the season finale. One question the Law & Order, SVU Season 26 finale left open was how the procedural planned to write out Kate Silver. While the episode gave Velasco one of the best send-offs in season history, complete with a montage of flashbacks during his final moments, it did not even hint at Silver's exit. Instead, she was little more than a background character throughout the episode. Her main function was to congratulate Velasco on his promotion. This lack of attention to Silver was disappointing, considering the season 26 finale was to be her final episode in Law & Order, SVU. However, it is unsurprising. In recent years, many Dick Wolf Entertainment shows have failed to give characters exit stories, instead explaining after the fact why the character is no longer on screen. Additionally, Law & Order, SVU wasted Silver's potential by keeping her off-screen for long stretches of time and giving her little to do in the majority of her episodes. If the writers were going to write Silver out, she should have had an exit story near the end of Law & Order, SVU Season 26. Understandably, they didn't want to distract from Velasco's exit by explaining why another member of the Law & Order, SVU Season 26 cast would not be returning in Season 27. However, they could have written Silver's exit a week or two before the final episode, giving them time to address both characters' decisions to leave without overwhelming the audience. Instead, there are now two choices as Season 27 begins. Law & Order, SVU could give Silver an after-the-fact explanation for her departure, although those types of exits usually fall flat. Conversely, they could write Silver out at the same time as they write Rollins in. However, this would lead to a similar awkward situation as writing Silver and Velasco out at the same time. It would also rob Rollins, a fan-favorite character, of having the triumphant or emotional return to the Special Victims Unit that she deserves. That it's difficult to write Silver out because the audience knows so little about her despite her year-long participation in Law & Order, SVU. However, one of the few things that is known is that she transferred from homicide because she preferred working on cases where the victims were still alive. Thus, the easiest way to write Silver out is to have her realize that this job is equally traumatic. It would have been easiest to do this after the 2025 Law & Order crossover, as that involved a gruesome murder, but it's not too late now. Silver should get one final episode of Law & Order, SVU like Tiffany did in FBI. During the Season 27 premiere, Silver should reveal that the cumulative trauma of handling SVU cases is too overwhelming and leave the department. Rollins could return in the next episode, avoiding the problem of Silver's exit distracting from her re-entrance. Unfortunately, the procedural is likely to compress such a decision into dialogue rather than giving Silver an exit story in real time, which will be far more disappointing.